Oh,
All right. Sorry. I forgot. I thought it was still on loop. Um, all right. Hi, guys, and welcome to Nine of FIFA Radio's weekly news recap show. I'm your host, Jamie. Here's my co host, Jason. Say hello.
hello. How's it
Hello.
going?
How's it going, guys? Um, Thank you guys for tuning in and checking out our recap show. Please give us a follow on all our social media platforms. We are on Twitter at 90FIFA We're on Facebook and Instagram at 90FIFA Radio. And if you follow any of these, you can keep up with all of our scheduling and all of that fun stuff and when we go live and all of that great stuff. Also, we are also at 90FIFA Radio on Twitch as well if you'd like to watch us on Twitch. Um, yeah, so those are all our social media platforms. So there's not very much news to talk about this week. So probably won't be super long show like last week, but we will talk about the little bit of news that we do have. Um, we do have some injury updates. Hey, Damien. Hello.
Oh, sorry.
Hey, you're good.
Hey, what's up, Damon? How you doing, brother?
Hey. All right. So we have some injury news. We'll talk a little bit of Niners versus Raiders, and then we'll kind of just go from there. All right. So first little clip that we have on injury update is from Shanahan's presser, I believe, from today, about just overall injuries.
All right, guys. Jimmy Garoppolo will be out. Debo Samuel out. Kevin Givens out. Ambry Thomas and Kerry Hyder are both questionable. All right, guys.
All right. So
Do we really
Debo,
need to put Jimmy on there every week now? I mean, come on. I don't get that.
Drew, but I think they actually have to. Otherwise, they would have to put him on IR.
Yeah, it could be.
And I don't think they want to put him on IR because they want to save that spot or whatever, or they want to be able to bring him back in case they need to. But it is funny seeing him pop up every week, just to be like, "Oh, there's Jimmy."
Hi, Jimmy. Although he was actually in the building again on his little scooter. Yeah. So that is like a 15-minute or a 15-second clip somewhere in there. God, the press supervisor.
That's pretty funny.
It's funny because we all know that sound, what it sounds like.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. No, too many big surprises. We will talk about Debo in a minute. But Debo is out for this week. Which honestly is probably for the best. Don't want to push him too soon for him to come back too soon and have him actually re-injure it and all that fun stuff. So, yeah, I mean, no big surprises. As far as I can tell, we'll keep you updated on the questionable people, but other than that, pretty standard. We actually have been doing okay with injuries the last couple weeks, so nothing too serious as far as I can tell. So I think that's definitely a positive thing. So we just got to make it to the next
2 weeks in a row where he said that there's been nothing to report for injuries at the
it's a freaking miracle.
Right? We're used to like him going out there with like a little line, and there's the whole team.
Pretty much. All right. Here is Shanahan on some more information on Debo Samuel.
He did good. Was able to do individual with us, run a bunch of routes, and then finish the rest of it on the side. So he's get in there and right on schedule. He did good.
All right. So it looks like he's happy with the way Debo's progressing with his injury and his rehab and all of that stuff. I definitely think with these last 2 weeks, they're not going to push him back too soon. So I wouldn't, even if he is better by the Arizona game, I could see him, if they wanted to play him, I could see him being on a limited count or something like that, just so he doesn't overdo it. Because they definitely want to keep him ready for the playoffs.
Yeah. I think it also depends on whether, excuse me, we can still get the number 2 seed kind of a thing. So,
yeah,
because like you said, I definitely think he'll play one way or the other next week. Because even if he doesn't, even if like say the 2 seed is, without we can't reach it for whatever reason, I can still see him playing just to get his legs and that weight underneath him, just to get it going up again like that. So, but yeah, I don't see him playing full out next week unless that 2 seed is there. Same thing with a lot of the other starters. They're not going to play the full game per se, but they're going to be out there long enough to maybe a preseason game. Just get some get the blood pumping kind of a thing, and then just pull them and rest up everybody for the playoffs.
Yep, sounds good. Holding on to Jimmy is like staying with a person you're about to break up because it's the holidays.
Well,
yeah.
There is that small chance that push comes to shove. Super Bowl, maybe NFC Championship, but more than likely Super Bowl. He could come back and be the backup quarterback. I don't think you couldn't start him there. You wouldn't want Jimmy going in cold like that.
No.
But there's a chance that he could be the backup at that point.
I think that's what they're hanging on to because they want him. Because regardless of how well Brock's been playing this last few weeks, he's still a rookie. So he hasn't been in these NFL playoffs or the Super Bowl or any of these more high pressure games.
He actually has been in college. He played bowl games and stuff like that. So he knows how to handle the pressure with everything. I really don't think that, maybe he'd get some, because obviously the Super Bowl would be bigger than any bowl game he played, because he did play a national championship or anything like that. But I don't think it's going to bother him compared to what most people would think a rookie quarterback, especially one that is Mr. Irrelevant, would, get rattled by it.
It's true. Yeah, I just think, like what they did to Jimmy this season, I think they just want to have a backup in case something happens.
Yeah.
Regardless of whatever reason, and even if Jimmy is just the backup, he's still been in these positions too. So and if Brock needs anything, I'm sure. I don't know. I don't know. I just think it's more of an insurance policy more than anything.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. It'd be really like any given Sunday when, the original starter goes down, the young guy comes in, gets into the championship game, then he gets hurt. And it's just like, are we trying to play out this movie?
It's wild. They really need to make a movie of these last few years with the quarterback with San Francisco, because it's just been wild.
Yeah,
it'd be hilarious. Yeah. It's just crazy. All right. And the last little clip that we have here is Shanahan on Elijah Mitchell.
Yeah, we actually would have opened it today or even maybe yesterday, but he's been homesick the last 2 days. We've had a bug going around, but he was good enough to start practicing today. So we'll definitely start that next week. Yeah, we actually would have opened it.
Alrighty. So that's him on Elijah Mitchell. So it sounds like if he hadn't gotten sick, he would have been practicing today if he was there. But he's gotten sick. I feel like the rest of us, because a lot of flu and all that stuff going around right now.
Bosa was sick earlier in the week too. He missed a couple days being out. So, like I said, when you're stuck in confined places with other people like this and everything, it
happens.
Even pre-COVID, but I think everything's more, what's sort of heightened now with all that kind of stuff. But it just happens.
Yeah, it happens.
Just
literally.
But nothing's been COVID. It's all been just people getting stomach issues, the regular flu. Because apparently the flu, which the one that I got, it is a killer flu that's going around right now. So like I said, it's a very strong strain of the flu. But these guys are obviously in shape and can kick it better than I was able to.
Yep, that's true. So that's really all the injury news, all the big news. Really on San Francisco's side. The only big thing that happened with the Raiders this week is that Derek Carr would not be starting at quarterback for the Raiders this week. They are passing it on to the younger guy. I forgot his name.
Jason Stidham.
Stidham?
Stidham.
Stidham.
I think that it might be pronounced a little bit Steedham, but I'm just going off how it's spelled. Stidham. Stidham.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was a little bit, I guess, surprising for me because I don't follow the Raiders very much. So, I wasn't aware of the whole situation going on over there. So, I think that's a little bit interesting. Do you have any thoughts on this, Jason, at all?
This is a scapegoat, desperate measure by a terrible coach. Josh McDaniels is a terrible coach. it's kind of funny because he's kind of doing the same thing to the Raiders that he did with the Broncos back in the day with the whole Tim Tebow thing and getting rid of Cutler and all those things. It's just he's not a good coach. I'm so glad that in 2017, a lot of people were saying it was coming down between Kyle and McDaniels on who was going to be the next head coach. I am so glad we did not get McDaniels.
Oh,
he's only been good because of Brady. That's it. Brady has made him into this top tier offensive coordinator that everybody thinks he is. He's not that good. Apparently, he's just when it comes to like getting along, like you see, like with Kyle, you see Kyle and how he interacts with the team and stuff like that. Apparently, McDaniels is just trash when it comes to interacting with it. So I do think that this is their way. Derek Carr is being a scapegoat for the Raiders right now. He hasn't been that bad. Is he great? No. Derek Carr will be a starter. I think he was like the 16th ranked quarterback in the league. He's solid. He's not. He's a little bit, in my opinion, he's a little bit more. He's got a better arm than Jimmy strength wise. He's a little bit more mobile than Jimmy was, but he's still in that same type of tier. And just like with Jimmy, there's times when Derek Carr is on, he is on. He's a damn good quarterback. He'll push into that top 10 mark. And then there's weeks like Jimmy where he'll just be a bottom tier quarterback for the most part. So I think it's just they're saving him in my opinion, just because, and a lot of people are reporting this, that his salary next year is $30 million. They can cut him on like February 7th or something like that. They save $25 million.
Okay.
AKA, who's that sound like? Jimmy.
Yeah, that's true.
So I could see the same thing playing out possibly with the Raiders. They get a top tier quarterback or bring in, I don't know, make a trade straight up for Zach Wilson or Mac Jones.
Jesus.
And then send Derek Carr and a few draft picks to like the Patriots or the Jets or something like that. I think Derek Carr with the Jets would be badass. But yeah, like with Jason Stidham, he came over with McDaniels from New England. He's might have thrown 30 passes, in the NFL, because I think he's thrown 16 this year, just in mop-up duties. So good luck, David Carr. He's been in this organization for almost 8-9 years now.
A long time.
He's taken the blame when it really hasn't been him.
He's a quarterback that I don't like. He's very solid. He's just, I don't know. I think he just got put in a crappy situation, and he just does the best he can.
Yeah.
I do feel a little bit bad for him.
Yeah.
Him getting the blame.
I mean, and then Derek, even you say like the Raiders since David Carr, I forget who I was watching. Like they haven't had a defense ranked higher than 25 the entire time he's been in the league.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's like, what are you supposed to do when your defense is that bad every year? And Devontae Adams only came to Oakland because he wanted to play with Derek Carr. They play college together. They're really good friends outside the stadium and everything like that. It's like, why would Devontae Adams want anything to do with this team? You just shoved his best friend out the window. Why would he want anything to do with this franchise next year?
Well, we'll have to see what happens with them. They'll probably have an interesting offseason. Maybe. But yeah, I mean, that's really the big news on their side. I thought I'd bring that up because that's a little bit interesting. But I mean, other than that, guys, not very much else to talk about. Anything like that? Jason, you have anything else you want to talk about? Any betting, anything like that?
I have the usual breakdown stuff. So obviously the Raiders are 6-9. They're an absolutely trash team. Their offense is ranked 14th in the league. This is where it gets kind of weird with the Raiders. They're putting up 23.2 points a game. Not terrible. Mm-hmm. Their defense is ranked 25th. They're giving up 22.3 games. So they're losing a lot of close games.
Oh, wow.
Everything. So, like I said, this defense and their offense has times. So, you've got Derek Carr, who wasn't, again, not great, not terrible. Mm-hmm. Devontae Adams has almost 1,300 yards and 12 touchdowns. It's good. That right there amongst itself is a good year for a wide receiver. You probably want more out of your number one wide receiver and for the last few years, arguably, could be put in there for the top 3 wide receiver in the league. But that's not a bad number to put up. Josh Jacobs has about 1,550 yards and 11 touchdowns. So again, when your number one wide receivers put up, those numbers, your number one running back has put up those numbers. I don't think it's the offense that's the issue.
No, it's their defense.
And their defense, when you look at it, like Max Crosby is actually a damn good pass rusher. They've got a decent front four. He's got 11.5 sacks on there. They got Duron Harmon for their Duron Harmon is their defensive back, one of the defensive backs. He's not terrible. Again, not terrible. They just give up big plays and they break down in terrible, terrible situations. I mean, look at the game against the Steelers. Giving up all those late last second plays. As far as the betting line right now, it opened up, I think, at like 6.5. It was over 10, and it's come back down to 9. I would actually take the over on that one, just because I can see this game getting away from the Raiders really quickly. So I'm betting over when it comes to Frisco by 9. Total points, it's 41.5 right now. I'm going to take the under, only because I don't know if the Raiders are going to be able to put up any sort of points with what that offense looks like. Like, I could see us putting up 30-ish points. I don't see the Raiders putting up 10 to 15 points to make it over that 41.5. Because, like I said, this defense is going to feast. I'm thinking Bosa is getting 3 sacks.
Oh.
I really think he's getting 3 sacks this week. I think he's going to
How close? He's close to breaking the record, right? Isn't he like 1 or 2 off?
Yep. Aldon Smith's team record is 19 and 19.5, and then the NFL record is 22.5, which should not be held by Michael Strahan.
He's at 17.5, right?
Yep. So he gets 3 more this game. Put him up at 20.5. He's just only got to get 2 against the Cardinals, who obviously are not playing that good right now. So, like I said, I think Bosa gets 3 sacks this game, and then puts him in a good position to tie and or break the record. Because, like I said, Strahan was given that record by 2 sacks to Brett Favre back in the day. Brett Favre basically laid down for the last one. It's bullshit that he even holds that record. T.J. Watt should be your NFL record holder by himself. Strahan should be at like 20 for that bullshit that they did during that game. But so, yeah, as far as fantasy, if you have anybody on the 49ers, start them. I've got, in my big money league, I've got Purdy and Kittle. I'm starting both of them. Purdy is my number 2 quarterback. I've got Mahomes number 1. I'm putting in Kittle. Obviously, CMC's been putting up good numbers. Ayuk, maybe even throw George Mason in there if you have him and you have an empty spot, some injuries kind of thing. He's good for some cleanup stuff and maybe get a little bit more rushes this week if it gets out of control and we have to put in backups and everything. If you have the Niners defense, definitely put in the Niners defense. If you do individual players like I do in a couple of years or in a couple of leagues, I would think Greenlaw and Warner are almost guaranteed starts just because they are, especially Greenlaw. Greenlaw is just a tackling machine this year.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if you could even start Bosa, depending on if you want to get those extra points from sacks. But yeah, that's all I got for that. Like I said, there's not much with the Raiders just because they're in such a flux this year. Like Josh McDaniels is a terrible coach. Not that I thought Chucky was any better.
Do you think he'll be gone by the end of by next season? Do you think they'll let him go, or do you think he'll stay?
I kind of think like with Russell Wilson, the Broncos can't afford to cut Russell Wilson. The Raiders can't afford
to let him
to cut him. So he's probably going to be back next year. But I mean, they could just bite the bullet and just do it. But yeah, because that team, the overall team isn't terrible. It's just the defense. And even at times, they just need better coaching because they have individual good players. It's just that they give up such big plays and they just can't finish.
Yeah. All right. Do you have any score predictions? And then
I'm going to go 30-3. I don't with Jason Stidham at quarterback. I can't see anything. Maybe 30-10. They get a fluke touchdown by because you've still got Devontae Adams and Josh Jacobs, but any sort of sustained offense, I just don't see it from them to get anything more than maybe 10.
I'll go 28-10, something very similar. I think.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be. It's either going to be very close game or it's going to be a blowout. I don't think it's going to be like a. I just think it's going to be one of those two things. I don't know. It's just going to
There
depend.
should be no reason for us to lose this game, but
No.
at the same time, it's the NFL. Any given Sunday. How many times have we seen teams, fire their coach, bench their quarterback, do this, and then all of a sudden the very next game they win against impossible odds? And that's the part that terrifies me. This is the trap game.
Yeah.
And, with the whole bragging rights, battle of the Bay, even though one team doesn't exist in the Bay anymore, I don't want to, I'm confident, but it's just like, damn it, I hate games like this where we've been so dominant for so long. Oh, this other team's in such turmoil. And then all of a sudden, bam, they're a great team. And please don't.
I know. And that's what I'm worried about is going to happen. That's either going to happen or we're going to blow them out of the water again. That's how I feel like it's going to be. Though, if Brock is to lose a game before the playoffs, this is the game to lose. We don't want him to lose to NFC and ruin our spot. Yep. But like you said last week, we'll see.
But we can't lose to the Raiders. Like I said, this is the 1-2 lose. If this was the Broncos or somebody, the Jaguars, I wouldn't. It's like, whatever. That would be obviously
it's the Raiders.
Yes, history. Like, we have to beat the Raiders, especially when they're so down. This isn't like a Raiders team that's good or anything that, on paper was an even match, anything like that. Like, no, we should absolutely destroy this team.
Yep, I agree. Alrighty. Well, I believe that is everything. Not very much to talk about, but thank you guys for tuning in to our show tonight. Appreciate you guys tuning in to the ones that popped up. Appreciate you. Like I said at the beginning of the show, make sure you follow us on all our social media platforms. We're on Twitter at NinerFaithfulR. We're on Facebook and Instagram at NinerFaithful Radio. If you follow any of those, you'll find us on all of our platforms. We're also on Twitch at Niner Faithful Radio if you'd like to watch us on Twitch. Keep up with all of us. We'll be here for game day for New Year's Day. We will have our streams. Our main guy will be doing our pregame show. I'll be doing the postgame show, and Jason will be doing the halftime show. I believe.
More likely, I will be hungover during the halftime show.
Yeah, it might be a rough show, guys. Just letting you guys know.
I mean, it is New Year's Day. We all know what everybody's doing the night before.
Yeah. Yeah. So if we're not super energetic on Sunday, you guys know why. Anyway, guys, have a great New Year. Have a great New Year's Eve. Be safe. Have fun. Enjoy. And as always, go Niners.
Bang, bang, Niner gang. Oh, real quick before you go. Before you turn it off, in case anybody knows, AAA does have a thing. If you are out drinking, call them to take you home. Please do not drink and drive at New Year's. The shit's free. You have no excuse.
Be safe, guys. Be smart. Like the AAA thing, there's a bunch Uber, whatever you gotta do.
You don't even have to have AAA. They'll come get you. Just do it.
Yeah. Just be safe. Be safe. Enjoy the evening, but just be safe. Yep. That's it, really, guys. Alrighty. As always,
later.
Go Niners.